time to go in the garage with Bodie Stroud.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to In the Garage. We've been gone. Mitchell's been traveling the world, which is amazing.
Right?
Oh, we got so much to talk about Mitchell. Mitchell has gone through a serious transition in life.
Have you?
He has a Facebook account, an Instagram account.
Yay!
He has moving up the ladder of the 20th century.
Wow.
He has stepped right into it.
Yeah, fell face first.
Yes. Oh, you fell.
God.
So that was accidental.
So what's your Twitter name? I have to find you.
I don't have that yet.
He hasn't.
Oh.
Whoa!
Not
Let's
get
take it
ourselves.
easy. He's
Okay.
done Instagram and Facebook. Let's.
Okay,
Those are two major steps for
Instagram's
mankind.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your Instagram name? I have to find you now.
Mitchell
Yeah.
McDonald.
Mitchell McDonald.
Mitchell McDonald.
Why do people make up weird names on Instagram? It's like just
Yeah.
put your damn name. Because now I see people like me and it says some weird name and I'm like, so I'm supposed to know that's you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why do they do that?
Is that you?
Yeah.
Finally famous?
That's it.
No,
Whoa.
that's not me. That's a different one.
No.
He's
No,
MacDonald, not
Oh, okay.
McDonald.
Yeah.
McDonald.
Yeah. Now you're going to have
I
all
am
kinds
finally
of...
famous. Though.
Finally famous.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Oh, man, it's great. So, yeah, we're really moving up in the world. That's just crazy. He just traveled, I think, for the first time ever
Where'd you go?
on an airplane.
Well, yeah.
Or second time. I know you went to the Washington, D.C. field trip for Village Christian
Yeah.
School. So I know you flew then, but tell us all about
Where'd you go recently?
I went to Illinois. I went to a small town called Quincy for some family business, and then
Nice.
since we were there, we jumped over to Chicago for a couple days.
Cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm not a big city person, but Chicago was impressive.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you saw that was just like, oh my god, everybody has to come here and see this?
I mean, all of it's really cool. It's all very old, and all the architecture is old, which makes it more impressive, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then just how green it is outside of California is
And is the air clear?
is nice. Oh yeah, totally clean. And for a big city, it's completely clean.
Wow.
And even the city is green. There's
Aw.
green trees, green parks. It's lusciously green compared to anything in California.
Right, everything's brown
Well,
over
that's
here.
because we don't have any water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. Don't get me started on that. Yeah, but we don't have any water, but we're approving tons of, 40 housing development projects here and there, and we're inviting more people into L.A., and Governor Brown's going to fine you $10,000 if you overuse water. But has anybody thought about this guy's super train to nowhere that's going to go through my neighborhood, and they're going to actually move mountains? Do they know how much water that's going to take? And do they know his agenda? He's going to fine us, and he's going to stop us from using water so he can use it, and nobody says anything about a super train? And
They
nobody
should
said
fine
anything. No one has jumped
him.
up and said, whoa, wait a second.
They should find him. That's
You know
what I
another
think.
thing that's got me mad?
Huh.
The roads today, our highways in California suck. They're take that billions of dollars, put it into our school system since the kids got no money for education,
Right?
and put it into our highways. Screw your super train to nowhere.
I don't need a super train.
Quit
to nowhere.
approving all these
We can
housing
take a plane,
projects.
right, Mitchell?
Yeah.
Right?
Planes are better anyway.
Yeah, hop on a plane if you want to go to Fresno. What's in Fresno?
I don't
Nothing.
know.
We've been there.
Yeah.
Starbucks closes at 3:30. What kind of town closes at 3:30? We'll be right back. God, there I go.
I'm going to find you on Instagram.
Welcome back to In the Garage. Sorry for my ranting and raving. I get started on all this stuff. It's just
noticed.
ridiculous. There is no more common sense left in the world. I'm
You know
sorry.
what? It's a big topic right now, and I mean,
Oh, God, it's ridiculous. Bruce Jenner being
Oh, my
commended as a
God.
hero.
I
and
could not wait
we
to
got
get here to talk to
actual
you about
heroes
that.
dying. And I've met Bruce Jenner a
Really?
couple times. Oh, yeah, go on my Facebook. I got pictures of me and him.
So did you know
I met
that
his
he
sons.
was a Caitlyn?
Well, we never sat down and talked about it, but I could see he was going through some kind of transformation.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but whatever. I don't care. I don't care. Don't put it in my face. I don't care. The dude can run off and do whatever he wants. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It's his
but
life. He's allowed to
our
live it
president
the way he wants.
called him a hero.
No, I didn't hear that.
He tweeted he's a hero today. And
I
it's like,
didn't
you
hear
got to
that.
be kidding. We got soldiers dying. And this guy is calling this guy a hero.
Right?
Courageous for doing what he... Whatever, great. But do we really have to... There's so much more important... Let me bring it back. We got no water, and our freeway system sucks.
Right.
And our school system sucks. So there we go.
And
Those are
everybody's
3
getting
major
sick.
issues.
The sicknesses are
Everybody's
getting
sick.
worse.
Yeah.
Like, normally I could shake it in like 3 days. Now it's like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it drags on and on. Everybody I talk to is sick.
Hint, hint.
I'm telling you, ISIS is here. I'm getting really crazy now. But the
see
freeway
that.
systems, okay, I'm driving down. It took me 3 hours to get from Orange County to Burbank, okay? 3 hours.
That's
And
normal.
I'm thinking, as I'm driving down the road, it says, if you're in the big sign says, if you are in a minor accident, please get over to the side of the road. And it's like, wow, they really have to tell people that?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? They do. They'll get into a fender bender, just a bumper, their car still runs. They'll sit there right in the middle of the
Oh,
freeway.
yeah.
Get off the damn freeway!
Mm-hmm. I've seen it so many times.
It's unbelievable. You got people videotaping accidents. They'll sit there and they're posting them. It's like, people, get a life.
And then you're trying not to get into an accident because everybody's in the way. You don't know if
Oh.
they're in the accident, or if they're helping, or if they're watching, or I don't know what they're doing, but
Everyone says try and stay positive, but if you live in California, it's getting harder and harder to stay positive because of all of the stupid bleep you see every day. It's just unbelievable. If you are a business owner and you are trying to better yourself right now in these times, in these economic times, with everything politically going on, it is almost impossible. It really is. The odds are against you. The American dream is slowly dying. It's amazing. And, you know, I go back to the freeway systems once again. I'm thinking, okay, if I told somebody, hey, say somebody important wanted to meet me here at the shop, and I'm in Orange County, and I say, okay, well, me, the me that's lived here my whole life goes, okay, from Orange County, meet me there in an hour and a half. Tell them I'll be there in an hour and a half. I would have been an hour and a half off. And I would have looked like a bad person. So how do you schedule time now?
2.5. That's the norm, right? 2.5?
I guess.
For the OC.
Apparently.
Maybe more, because that OC traffic is horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. And you go,
Burbank,
okay.
OC,
So and as I'm driving,
LA.
I'm thinking, how do you now, as a business owner, or as somebody doing a job or trying to keep with a schedule, how do you predict that? How do you maintain a schedule? How do you show up on time? There's getting more and more excuses why people can't show up to work that are okay because society is creating these natural excuses for them. Sorry I was late. It was traffic. Sorry. And it's like now I almost have to say, God, I know what he's talking about.
Right? I have to wake
But
up.
that hurt me because we were supposed to be doing this at this time. You know what I'm saying?
I wake up at 7, and I don't have to be at work until 9 just to do, like, that 45-minute drive,
Oh,
the hair and makeup, and then just that drive, I need to make drive time.
it's crazy. And, as driving, I've noticed, too, about 50% of the people are driving 60 miles an hour. And you're going, and it's funny, you can tell the ones that are on their phone because they're doing
They're swerving.
55. Yeah, they're slowing way down.
55.
Let's say, so you go in the next lane to go around them, and I have a trailer and a car on the back of a trailer, and I go around them, and all of a sudden they realize, oh, shoot, and then they drop their phone and they speed up. And you're like, what? Now I can't go around you because there's not enough space because you sped up. I mean, what is... Whew.
So what were you up to? Mitchell went to Chicago. Let's do the more positive thing. I know you hate that, but
No.
What
I
were
love
you up
positive.
to?
I was up in the Sierras at Mule Days, a thing called Mule Days. My wife and daughters show mules, and their
Nice.
family show mules and stuff like that. So it was a nice little getaway.
very cool. I think I saw your Instagram. I think I saw that.
Yeah, I think maybe I did a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple family photos.
Yeah, it's crazy because my times. It seems like I'm getting less and less time, so I don't have time to post. It's another thing. It's like I see people posting all day, and I'm like, how is this person doing this? It takes me a good 10 to 15 minutes to sit there and post something and edit it and write something. You know what I mean?
People aren't thinking nowadays. Like, it's just second nature. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty. Here, pretty.
Blah,
and
blah,
that's
blah,
it.
yeah.
They don't think while they post. They just do it.
Whew, man.
We actually sit there to examine, what should we write? Does this sound good? We think too much, but...
Take me to a little hodunk town where I'm just...
No phone.
No phone,
no
mountains,
internet.
river, clean air, no internet. Take me there, please. Please, as soon as possible.
Oh. Well, at least you get
One
to go
day.
home to your family and spend some time. That's actually my favorite part of the day.
Yeah, I get to
is
see
being
them
able
about
to
a
go
half
home,
hour.
hang out.
Or sometimes they're asleep, so yeah.
Yeah.
I get to watch them
hang
sleep.
out for a bit and then go to sleep and do it all over again.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
that little time that you get with your family that's just...
Yeah. Watching them sleep
worth
is great.
everything.
Yeah. And I kind of just talk to them.
Aw. You talk to them while they're sleeping.
Make up responses in your head.
It's great. Anyways, back to cars and Eric dropping stuff over there. Man, we're busy as always in the shop here. We got tons of projects. We got, real exciting stuff happening here. Coming up, I will be able to announce, hopefully soon here, maybe within the next year or so.
Okay. I thought you said announce, and I was like,
No, I
I'm ready.
can't say anything, but it's going good. It's going really good. Our suspension's really starting to take off.
Nice.
In a direction I feel happy about because people are wanting it, and it's allowing us to build and improve as we build. It gets better and better as we go, and which right now I feel we're in a pretty good spot with our suspension and our chassis. I feel really comfortable with the way everything's going. It's going good, right?
Yeah.
I had an interesting week last week when Mitchell was gone. I had to do something. I'll show you some pictures.
okay.
It was an interesting week without Mitchell. I was running around like a madman. It was pretty crazy, but it was good. We accomplished a few things, got some projects out of here, and
now
good.
Mitchell's back.
And now Mitchell's back, so I'm going to go in my office
And
and
he's
kick my feet
famous.
up on the desk. Thanks, Mitchell.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to In the Garage. Apparently we've all been gone too long. I feel like we just had a little come into
I
Jesus
really missed
meeting
you
there.
guys.
I missed you too.
I really did. I
Yeah.
was like, no show again. Oh,
Sorry.
I can't wait
God,
to come
we
back and
just-
talk about all the things that you guys have done.
I know.
Please don't ask me because my life is very sad right now because I haven't done half the things you guys have.
Okay, we won't ask you.
But how fun. Welcome
What'd you
back.
do?
I really
I
missed
know
you
what you did.
guys.
Thank you very much. It was, much needed little time off there, and everything's good. Now we're back into the groove, and everything's moving, and we're working, and did a little thing with Miller over the last couple days. I would call it a commercial, but I guess now, since it's going on the internet, and
Miller beer?
Miller Welders.
Okay.
That would be good, though, too.
I had to ask, sorry.
Yeah, Miller Welders. They're a
Welders,
sponsor
okay.
of mine, and we had a great time. Erica, Josh Welton, Max Grundy, we all did a deal together. We did some welding stuff. We went over jigs and how we make jigs and control arms and how to work sheet metal and how I do it. And
Nice.
yeah, it was really cool.
And that was
So-
a commercial you said?
Yeah, it was commercial.
Nice. Where's
Yeah.
it going to be?
On the internet.
On the
I
internet?
think. Well,
Okay.
and on their website. It'll be everywhere that all of their channels. I don't know what you call it.
I'm going to look for it.
All of their media, I guess, would
Yeah.
kind of handle it all.
Miller
Yeah.
Welding.
There you go.
All right.
So anyways,
I'm going to look on it, and then I'll post it on your site so everyone else can see.
okay, perfect. anyways, we have a guest.
We do.
Yes, we have Cameron Evans from Redline Oil joining us today. Let's see what's going on with him. What's up, Cameron?
Man, busy out there right now. It's crazy. Just kind of getting over the spring and starting to head into summer with between racing and all the road car stuff that we do and lots of new products and a lot of racing actually right now. There's a lot of grassroots kind of road racing and such that's becoming more and more popular again. It's kind of a renaissance over, with endurance racing and things that were happening 30 years ago. A lot of people are finding out that they can go race pretty cheaply, and they use a lot of great, a lot of our products to keep them going down the road. So like most things with our business and with a lot of guys in the aftermarket, racing may only be 20% of your business, but it's about 80% of the work.
Yeah, exactly. That is for sure. Oh God, it's a lot of work to race, and I don't think people realize it. That don't actually physically do the sport. It is a lot of work. You are absolutely correct.
We do it ourselves. I think in the last couple of years, we've always had credibility in the industry as, because we're so involved with, Coletta and a lot of the behind the scenes, a lot of the NASCAR teams and overseas and World Rally and things like that. But it's now these days we race so much with Bimmer World, the folks that do all the Bimmer World after BMW aftermarket, more the high-end racing stuff rather than the Bavarians and people like that sell a lot of those other parts. And it's funny, we've got guys like Chad Reynolds that a lot of people know from the hot rod scene coming up to me saying, dude, you got to help me figure out what 3 Series I'm going to buy. It's almost as if the E46 3 Series BMW is the new 69 Camaro. And we have chosen in-house to race a lot of those cars because with big distributors that we have like WorldPack, we sell a lot of parts to BMW installers, a lot of oil. So it's a great fit for us. It's totally fun. And it's really cool when your customers, as long as you don't run into them, it's cool when your customers come up and say, ask you about applications, and it just drives home that we're pretty darn involved.
Nice. So it sounds like you guys sponsor a lot of teams. What's the process like?
We sponsor a lot less teams than we used to over the years. So many of our teams are customers, and for us, a lot of people, that send sponsorship requests to Redline. That sometimes we can help with a discount, and sometimes there are teams that graduate on and do a great job for us promotionally. But a lot of times the way the sponsorship works is through contingency. We just started sponsoring or doing contingency with NASA for the first time in a long time. They've really improved how they go about their business. We still do a little bit with SECA. We don't do NHRA anymore because we sell so much to the teams. It's too complicated, but yeah, a lot of the sponsorships now through contingency. So basically the teams are pretty happy with winning the product back that they bought to race with.
Wow, nice. Very cool. Well, hey, Cameron, we're coming up on a break, but check out Redline Oil at www.redlineoil.com. You can also check them out at facebook.com/Redline Synthetic Oil, just like it's spelt. We got a break coming up. You're listening to CRN Digital Talk. We'll be right back after these words. Welcome back to In the Garage. Got our friend Cameron Evans with us from Redline Oil. Check them out at redlineoil.com, or you can check them out at facebook.com/Redline Synthetic Oil. Cameron's got all kinds of cool stories because he's around the racing scene. You know what I mean? He deals with all the racers, and Mitchell and I wish we could spend all of our time racing, but for some reason we're always wrenching. Mm-hmm. How do we flip-flop it, Cameron?
I don't know that you want to be honest.
Oh, okay. But it's fun to go fast.
If I were you guys, if you may remember, Bodie, I used to be the editor of Popular Hot Rodding for a long time. So
yeah,
I we were in that whole kind of era that pro touring really came out of, and if I was a car builder or seriously building stuff for the hot rod scene, and I had a racing itch. To me, I'm not that attracted to the autocross thing. I know these guys, the Good Guys Autocross is
I'm not
really
either.
popular, and at the NMCA events, Hotchkiss is doing a bunch of these autocrosses. But for me, I'd be building a chump car out of a first-gen, second-gen Camaro and applying all these trades that I've learned within the hot rod world into common sense stuff, trial and error on a little race car. They're cheap to build. They're simple,
Yeah.
they're fun, and you don't have to drive around a parking lot. You can go race at Road America or Laguna Seca or awesome places.
There you
know?
go. That's what I'm talking about. Me personally, I see myself one day building my own car, which I have my truck that we finished, but we've kind of used it for marketing and it's a tool purposes. But I see myself building a car and driving across country. You know what I mean? And just knowing the satisfaction of that I built this car, and like you said, putting all my skills, all of our knowledge into it, our setup, our geometries, our motor, and just feeling the sensation of actually driving it. If I'm on the highway and I want to open it up and do 165 miles an hour and no one's around, right?
You should be able to do so.
Am I allowed to say that on the air?
That's what's funny about these low cost endurance races. I think a lot of people will look at the 24 Hours of Lemons and go, "Hey, I don't want to dress up in a flipping costume. I don't want to do that." But they look at Jump Car, they look at some of these new low buck endurance series, and you could really do that. And the key is you get to go someplace safe where you get to hit the gas pretty hard, and you also get to find out if your stuff works because there's lots of other clever guys there as well. The V8 muscle car deal is better than ever, and it's funny. I swear to God, I'm not on the take, but Holley came out with that Hydromat. Have you seen the new fuel tank pickups that are a mat that lies on the bottom of the tank? And that solves all the fuel consumption problems for these muscle cars. Yeah, they're going to eat a lot more fuel than, let's say, a BMW or a Honda Civic, but with a 22-gallon cell or whatever or 24-gallon cell, I think is the most you can run in a Camaro, for example, because you're allowed 2 gallons more than stock. And the biggest one ever stock was 22 gallons. Well, now you get to pick up all that fuel in the bottom of the cell, and that makes you more competitive to drive for 2 hours straight. But I think when a lot of the hot rod guys that are showing up, and even the dirt track guys are showing up, they're finding out their stuff isn't reliable enough to go a 2-hour stretch, and moreover to go 7 hours in a day. But that's part of the fun of it, is learning how to improve what you built.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what I was talking about a little earlier with our suspension. We've been lucky enough to have people come in and they've heard about our suspension, and we've got great feedback from it. So now it's starting to grow, and it's allowed us to get better and perfect what we've been trying to do. Which is awesome, and we're very fortunate to have that, to be in that situation.
What's super fun about that, too, is that the data acquisition is so cheap now. For folks, they've probably seen the little computers you see on a go-kart from the company called AIM. It's actually an Italian company, but AIM Sports in America imports it all and probably sells more than the Italians. And they have these little solos and microns and these different devices that for $300 or $400, you can have 3 or 4 channels of data, and you can apply that channel to suspension geometry. You can apply it to tire temperature, and you can log the results of the engineering you've learned, Bodie, and then you go out and kind of you can keep improving it through that. I know more street guys that now have race car style, low-cost data acquisition on their cars because, hey, if a 12-year-old kid can have it on his go-kart, maybe you ought to put it on your muscle car and try to figure out what it's doing and why,
There you go. Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, when Mitchell and I started the business, especially me, I'd been doing, welding in your basic Mustang 2 front suspension, and away you go down the road thinking, oh, this is going to handle better than your leaf spring setup you had on here, your old coil setup, and I didn't know much about handling until we figured out, a system for geometry. We were fortunate enough to work with a friend who owned a NASCAR team, and he let us work with his engineers and designers, and they showed us their basic structure, and it keeps getting better and better, and now that you can feel the difference, it's like, wow, this is a huge difference. So yeah, you're absolutely right. We're trying to make it affordable, so if you do buy a typical IFS system for us, you're going to get the bitch and ride height, you're going to get, and it's going to handle for what that car is set up for. It's going to handle really nice.
Well, that's what a lot of people in the hot rod business, even though I've obviously worked, running Redline as a company, I think some people think I'm removed from it, but because of the racing we do, I'm actually more in touch with that, with the kind of thoughts on suspension geometry than I was when we were trying to lead the muscle car kind of world toward, cars that actually worked, that lived up to the potential of their parts. And
Sure.
what's interesting is that so many hot rod guys, when they were bolting on all this old Mustang 2 stuff, didn't realize that to get that stance on the ground, that the roll center was 6 feet below the ground, and that the bump steer was the reason that they were about ready to crash and hit the freeway off-ramp. And now guys like yourself, and there's so many good suspension guys that are figuring that out, are starting to but, it's funny. I don't think there's much of a compromise. I'd like to hear your take on that, because to make these cars ride well and drive around and be fun, and to make them work on the road course, or to make them work in a parking lot at the Good Guys Autocross, can you really get a compromise that does all three correctly?
I don't think so. I think you can find a happy medium. You know what I mean? But to say it does one thing better than the other, it would take tons of setup time, you know what I mean, and adapting it to that situation.
Well, it's shock valving, and we sell a lot of suspension fluid to those guys now, because they all are trying to figure out on their own what provides, what's the problem with a compromise? It means you do nothing well. And
exactly.
Trying to make it so that a guy that bolts the stuff on, most people can't afford to have 3 different cars. They got to have one.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see where you guys are taking it, and hey, we miss some of our muscle cars right now, but we're so busy racing these BMWs at Bimmer World that maybe next year we get back into a Camaro.
Cool, Cameron. Hate to cut you off, but we got a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to In the Garage. Joining us today is Cameron Everins from Redline Oil. Check them out at redlineoil.com or facebook.com/Redline Synthetic Oil for all your oil needs. If you're looking for motor oil for racing, gear oil for differentials, anything, automatic transmission fluids, they got it all. So check them out, and I highly recommend their product. Really good product.
Well, we highly recommend your show, because you guys are the only car show on the internet that we can hear face-to-face as bumper music, so that's cool.
There you go. Right on. And sorry to cut you off there. Those breaks come up super fast, but it's I don't even know what the heck we were talking about. It sucks, because you get on a roll and then the commercial comes in, and so then you got to pick it up again. And you're like, why do we have to do commercials? I guess we got to make people happy. Got to pay for the show, right?
Right. Shout out to Stone Rubber Products.
Yes.
So, Bodie, what are you seeing in the cars and the project cars and stuff that you're building right now? We're just curious from my side of the business, from the lubricant side, what kind of challenges are you seeing? I mean, there's so much stuff that's LS-based, and there's some guys that use vintage motors. I think there's a lot of misconception that, people talk about racing motor oil. You don't need racing motor oil. The stuff that we do for road cars works pretty well. What kind of challenges do you see with those applications?
Man, I don't know. Most of our customers we build our cars for, they want their car for everyday driving. They see themselves driving it to a car show on the weekend. But, we are putting big horsepower to a lot of these cars. We just finished a 57 Chevy, and he went old school and put what size motor was that?
509.
A 509 in it with the Kinsler stacked injection, and it's putting out over 800 horsepower. We did this, the GT 700S Mustang with the supercharged Coyote. With us, we're kind of all over the place, Cameron. It's just on what somebody sees. You know what I mean? We got a 56 Ford pickup in here, and he wants an old 351 Windsor in it, and he wants to go old school, carbureted, and so I guess it just depends on the person and what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny is some of your listeners may remember, because we built a lot of cars at Redline over the years, and the Redline 57 Chevy that we built, which had a Mike Moran, twin turbo motor, a street motor.
Yes. And
that thing made 1,600 on pump gas.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, tell me about it. That's with the boost up, and it made easy 1,250 cruising around. And it was, a pretty special car. That car had 30 weight in it. The biggest problem guys have in the muscle car business is they think that because their engine makes more power that they need to go up 1 level or 2 levels in viscosity. And we can't tell you how much we see guys that should be running 30 weights because it's fuel injected, so it's real efficient. It doesn't get a lot of fuel in the oil, and it's got good ring seal. And that's the clearances that the engine was built for. If it came for 30 weight, you'd be surprised that it still works pretty well, or even just 40 weight if a guy's nervous and wants to move up. But that's one thing
as
for
far
your
as that's
listeners to tell them
concerned,
that anyone trying to get you to run 50 weight in a muscle car these days, you better rethink it unless you have a lot of fuel dilution.
Oh, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. That's all we use is 30 weight on all of our stuff, because you're absolutely right. You know, that's the tolerances it was built for. It doesn't. I don't know why people would do that. And to be perfectly honest with you, we've never really had anybody ask us that question. You know what I mean? To where, hey, you know, I was told to use 50 weight. What should I use? You know, that's when I'd go, oh my God, what are you doing?
Usually,
you
if
know
you got
what I mean?
a supercharger, you put a turbo on it, or so there's power adder on it. You can go up one weight in oil level, and it's pretty safe. And that's not just including Redline product. That's anybody's product. But when you look at a PAO and ester based product like Redline, that it's really stable. So it's usually not necessary to do that. But where it's kind of interesting right now is there's so much LS, so many LS powered cars out there, and guys are starting to try to run 40 weights in it. Those engines were designed for 30 weight, and a lot of the older LSs that get into these projects, the skirts were longer in the first generation of LS, so it makes a lot of turbulence in the engine. So, if there's one tip that we would give you guys that about sticking to 30 weights, is because the thing goes slower with a 40 weight in it, not just from a matter of friction reduction, but windage inside the engine.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's that's the greatest definition we've ever had on the show. Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah, I'll give you one more
piece of
advice.
Good,
is the automatic transmission fluid issues. There's a lot of people trying to pour these racing automatic ATFs in a in a 4L80 or a 4L60 or one of these aftermarket GM 4-speeds, and they're designed for a really light ATF. The D6 ATF we make for those cars, which is the same stuff you'd pour in your new pickup truck. It's extremely stable, but because it's a lighter viscosity as spec'd by GM, it doesn't trap a lot of heat. So what they do with these engines with these combinations is they apply a really tight converter, and it works perfect for the muscle car deal. So you don't have to change a lot of that stuff. So that's one of the recommendations we make to your listeners that have followed your career, that remember that the good OE stuff, not the cheap stuff that you go buy, not the stock stuff, but the stuff that companies like Redline make that's an upgrade but yet is still stock compatible. Those are the products you need to be running in these muscle cars.
Awesome. Well, we're coming up on another break, but when we come back, I want to ask you about the manual transmissions as well, because, we're putting automatic transmission fluids in that as well, so I want to get your opinion on those. So we'll be right back. We got a break coming up. You're listening to CRN Digital Talk Radio in the Garage. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Final segment. Man, that show went really quick. Aww. Cameron, you were probably one of the best guests we've ever had. And I don't just say that to every guest.
He really doesn't.
And I got to tell you, dude, listen to the bumper music. You got stoner rock for bumper music. That's
right, dude. Right? Come on, man. We're like a last of a dying breed here.
Got the good stuff.
I remember that album. The Action is Go. That's awesome.
There you go. Since this is the last segment, it's going to go really quick. So I just wanted you to do a quick comment on what you thought about the ATFs in the manual transmissions as well.
There's a couple things here. So almost all the manual transmissions on the market for these types of cars, except for really big power stuff where you got to put more viscosity just to simply protect the gears, they're all designed to run an ATF. Two things. Number one, they were designed for road cars, so they have real tight clearances and they try to be real efficient for fuel economy. Well, just because you put that T56 in a muscle car doesn't mean that you're gonna the clearance is changed in the box magically. So the products like our D4 ATF, which is kind of based on a Dexron 3, it's compatible with Dexron 3s. That's what you want to run, are these ATFs, if that's what was prescribed. If you go on redlineoil.com, we got an application guide. We have more than 400,000 applications we wrote ourselves, and we apply a lot of those hard-to-find matchups between the gearboxes and ATFs or gear oil. The one thing a lot of people forget is that, like a GL4 gear oil, like our famous MTL or MT90, that D4 ATF has that same level of protection. Plus, because it's not thick, it doesn't trap heat, kind of like the motor oil. So if gearbox is designed for an ATF, run an ATF. You're going to do yourself a disservice and wear the box out faster if you go up in viscosity. It's no different than the engine.
Dude, thank you so much. You were an awesome guest. I appreciate you coming on, Cameron. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Check out Redline Oil at redlineoil.com, just as it sounds and spelt. And also facebook.com/Redline Synthetic Oil. Synthetic oil.
Yep.
Thanks, Cameron. I really appreciate it. And we'll be talking soon. We got to get you on here again because I know you're just a book of information.
And I'm going to bring my own bumper music, and we're going to start listening to
Yes. That's what I want you to do. There you go. I want you, when we call you up and we ask you to do the show, I want you to put a whole segment of music that you want.
I want to hear
we'll
Rain
put it in
Blood
just
as
for
we
you.
come out
Yes.
Do some karaoke.
All right, Cameron. Well, hey, you have a good one, and we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Bye.
Take it easy. Cool, man. That was a quick.
Yeah.
What do we do? An hour?
Yeah, it's an hour.
Where the hell are we?
That was the quickest hour ever.
I'm telling you, the older I get, it seems the more I have going on right now in my life than I think I've ever had going on. We have our chassis, we have the truck program, we have the thing I can't talk about. We're busy building. We got so much good, the clothing. Look for our new clothing. We're going to be putting it up on our new branding, our new T-shirts, hoodies, T-shirts, hats, girls' shirts. That's all coming out, so check out our latest updates at bodiestroud.com. And also want to thank Steel Rubber. Maybe you can thank everybody.
Thank you, Steel Rubber Products. Make sure you check them out, steelrubber.com. Magnaflow, we can't forget them.
Nope.
Check them out. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys next Wednesday because we're back live. No more 2-week vacations. We're here next Wednesday, 10 a.m. CRNTalk.com.
See you next week, because you're always welcome in the garage with Bodie Stroud. Presented by Steel Rubber Products. www.steelrubber.com on CRN Digital Talk Radio. www.crntalk.com.